Michigan versus ECU. Michigan wins 30-3. And the one thing I clearly remember is J.J. McCarthy going over the line of scrimmage to throw a touchdown.
Of course, that would be your first. He was clearly beyond it. I don't know. We got the saving grace, I guess. It'll bite us in the ass somewhere down the line. We'll have a bad call. We'll point back to J.J. McCarthy in the ECU game had a touchdown. Should be caught that broke.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyways.
Yep. I will do that.
So yeah, we got a freebie, but damn, I've never seen him look that good throwing the ball.
A lot of balanced play calling.
Oh my goodness.
I think you guys had 24 rushes, 30 passes.
So much for not having the wide receivers to go 50-50. Anyways.
You're playing ECU.
Anyways, very impressed by J.J. McCarthy's day.
Actually, if I remember correctly, you guys were obviously pass heavy at the beginning of the season last year because you had to see Cade and JJ.
Didn't matter. We were still running the ball 35, 40 times a game.
You guys threw the ball a lot more than you did later on.
They still like we were still coming in here every week trying to dampen the flames of people complaining about the passing game. And how we weren't working the passing game, how we weren't taking these early season opportunities to work the passing game because Blake and Donovan were still having plus years. Mm-hmm. Like they were still having really good seasons. Now they weren't going out there and putting up 100 yards apiece just yet, but they were getting those opportunities. Which is what's happening right now. Well,
because Blake Corum only had 70?
He had 70 yards on 10 carries, and then Donovan had like 40, 50 yards, something like that.
Like 14.
On 12
maybe
carries.
12
carries, yeah. So, I mean, it's not like they went all out, but again, they weren't very belligerent about running the ball. They were throwing on first down, throwing on second down, throwing on third, throwing on fourth.
And I feel like you're going to go through the Big Ten portion of your schedule and start running a lot more. And you'll start to see those 100-yard games.
Maybe. If he can play like this, if he can operate at that level, then there's no reason to deviate from what we just did. I think the biggest factor in all of this is going to be homeboy, the quarterback's coach, the new quarterback's coach, Kirk Campbell. Why did I forget his name that quickly? Yeah, Coach Campbell going away from last year's quarterback coach and co-offensive coordinator and Matt Weiss. Kirk Campbell, he wants to air that thing out, man. And Kirk Campbell is also in on a few very highly rated quarterbacks that he needs to convince that this offense is going to open up. Bryce Young, the Montgomery kid here from Ohio, right? Like
you say Bryce Young?
Yeah, not Bryce.
Bryce Underwood.
Me, Bryce Underwood.
Underwood. I get those mixed up too.
Yeah, man, he's in on some very highly touted guys. And in conjunction, Bellamy is also in with higher rated wide receivers and trying to convince them like, yo, the offense is going in another direction. Like, we're going to start opening it up. So this was his opportunity, being acting offensive coordinator, to kind of prove that this weekend. And I think so. I think he's really got something to go back to those guys and be like, all right, look, obviously I only have so much control over the offense. I have an input. Here's what it looked like when I was running, when I was at the helm. Mm-hmm. So you can expect my increase of influence year over year. This is what we're moving towards here. This is what I would ultimately like to see you do when you come here. That's a much better pitch than come here and then we'll be better. Right? That's not the strongest persuader.
Yeah.
But showing him that you can actively do it. But then that means you actually have to do it in conference play. You got to do it throughout the year. And I don't think they have any reason to think that, like, they need to, lather Blake or Donovan up with 20 carries apiece to make sure they're ready. No, they're ready. They're ready. 7.3 yards a carry and still looked rusty. If I'm being frank with Blake Corum, still didn't look like he was in mid-season form. Mm-hmm. Like he started the season last year. I don't think that was to be expected. The man had an ACL tear the year before. So I'm not concerned about Blake. The fact that he was able to get what he got not looking his best is
yeah,
that's good for me. That's good for me.
I'd be okay with that.
Donovan still has some things to improve on. I do not want to see him in short yardage, him or Khalil Mullins for that matter. It should be a Blake Corum show or a Benjamin Hall show in short yardage. Yeah, tell him, baby. Tell him. Donovan he don't need to run in 3rd and 1 because he don't like the ugly yards, do it. Huh? He don't like the ugly yards. Donovan needs to fall in love with the ugly yards, man, because those runs set up longer runs. When they see you going in between the guards and you bust the linebacker's mouth off for 7 yards, that is going to bring increased attention right there in the middle of the formation. Guys are going to pay a whole lot more attention to the middle of that formation when you are able to clubber them for 5 tough yards in the middle that they didn't want to give up on first down. Yep. Now they're on alert. Now they're on test. Now the safeties are paying a little bit more attention. They're hanging on the play fakes a little bit longer, which makes your play action a little bit more susceptible. The main thing it does for Donovan is that now when I'm coming towards the line of scrimmage and I'm headed towards the guards, that's going to open up the cutback or the bounce outside so much more now, because I know I have to come with my lunch pail as a linebacker. I know this guy that's coming through the middle is a hoss, and if I don't bring my lunch pail and come with some anticipation, he might run me over. He may go. He might break it. So now my attention is thinking, okay, stop inside. Oh, shit, he just broke out. I am in no way, shape, or form prepared to flip my hips and chase you outside. Because now my focus is trying. That's why Blake Corum had so many of those bounce out runs last year. Because when teams started to say, okay, we got to gang tackle him inside so he's not just getting 5 yards a pop, he said, okay, yeah, fuck you. I'm out. Mm-hmm. I'm around the corner. Sorry, baby. Fudge you. I'm out. Around the corner. So I'm not concerned about the running game. Honestly, I think as the season goes on, if they keep feeding him where they're feeding him now, he will get more and more reacclimated to the offense. He'll feel more comfortable with the body after the injury. Mm-hmm. He'll play more free. First game, expecting him to come out there and run for 100 yards is nuts, and he almost did it anyway. So I wasn't
7 yards a pop.
Yeah, I wasn't particularly impressed with the running game overall, but I wasn't disappointed, and they got enough production to give me optimism. They played a lot of offensive linemen, but I feel like I didn't see a lot of Ladarius Henderson. We saw a lot on the tackle side from Barnhart, from Jones, from Miles Hinton. Miles Hinton got a lot of burn. At right tackle. So they rotated a lot of guys, but I didn't see Ladarius Henderson. So that's interesting. I don't know if it's injury or he didn't show up until fall camp. They thought he was going to be an early enrollee, so maybe he's having trouble picking up the playbook. Who knows? But right now it seems like we're rolling with who we're rolling with. The passing pockets looked perfect. Rarely did JJ really have to reposition. If he was repositioned, it was for a throwing lane. It wasn't because of pressure.
Yeah.
He looked really clean. The most impressed I was of any group all weekend, wide receivers. Much maligned group. A lot of question marks about how productive they could be. Increase in the passing game. Coming off of last year, losing guys to the portal like Andrew Anthony. What could they do? How productive could they be? How much could they assist JJ McCarthy in a plus season and trying to elevate this season? Man, Roman Wilson, just stay healthy. That's all I got to say for him, man. If you stay healthy this season, the sky is the limit. Sky's the limit. He's easily going to run 4.3, 4.2 at the combine. He's got 3 touchdowns already. He's got half the amount of touchdown production he had all of last season in the first game. Okay, so that tells you where his mindset is at and what kind of season he's poised to have. Just stay healthy, man. That has been his problem the last 2 years, is staying healthy, staying on the field.
Yeah.
Cornelius Johnson looked really steady. Had a drop. It seems pretty standard for him early in the season. But he caught 4 or 5 more balls that it looked really good. We even got young guys involved. I seen Carmelo English. I seen Frederick Moore. We had a Darius Clemens sighting, even though he was said to have been hurt. He caught a ball. Just very productive. They looked good. They were good in blocking. They were good route running. I like just about everything I've seen out of those guys. And the connection between him and Roman Wilson is only going to grow, him being JJ, is only going to grow throughout the season. You better tell your boys to catch up before they get their spot taken. Catch up!
So anyways.
The Roman Empire coming for the Bolitnikov this year.
Yeah, anyways. Okay, so the formation to honor Jim Harbaugh wasn't that bad. I didn't really see...
It was a little corny, a little cheesy, but
I didn't see too much of a problem with it. My problem was the fact that there was all this free Harbaugh bullshit going on, which...
Yeah, free Harbaugh.
You guys self-imposed it.
Free all of the game.
You can't put yourself in timeout and then say, "Oh, free me."
Didn't impose it. The administration did.
Free my coach. We put him in timeout.
Free all of the dogs.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So stupid.
Free all of the dogs.
That is the one thing I really had a problem with. Everything else is okay, I guess.
Free my boy. Free Sherrone. Free Harbaugh. Free them all.
Bro didn't have a free Sherrone shirt on. He had a free Harbaugh
Sherrone
shirt
gonna be
on.
back next week.
No, fair enough.
Now that is going to be an interesting thing, seeing how and if the play calls change with Sherrone being back in the fold and being the head coach as opposed to Jesse, and I'm thinking, I think they'll probably stick with Kurt as the offensive coordinator. But you know, in that case, I would think that is still calling the plays. Sherrone Moore is still calling the plays. He's the literal offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm taking it for what it is. It was an early season matchup, basically a preseason game. We had a lot of injuries. No Will Johnson, no Rod Moore. Darius Clemens played like one or two snaps. So you want to stand up, okay?
Your boy had a pick.
Josh Wallace looked really good. He looked better than expected.
Sanders still.
Oh yeah. Sanders still got a pick. That's the best nickel in the country, man. I ain't worried about that though. Josh Wallace is the one who really impressed for me. I was looking to see at least one of those corners step up. And I think everybody kind of played good. Jair Hill had a couple of plays in there. Jaden McBurrows was out there a lot. He got a lot of burn. Keyshawn Harris played a little bit. So I didn't really see a whole lot of guys getting exposed or looking like they couldn't play. But the guys who made a difference and kind of made excuse you. Good job, baby. Who kind of made a difference, I would say, were Wallace and Sanders still. Which, in Mikey's case, you expect that, senior captain. But Josh Wallace is a nice surprise, for sure.
Fair enough.
Keon Sabb had a hell of a game, filling in for Rod Moore. Linebackers. Everybody looked good. Mike, if you keep on missing tackles, Hausman's going to take your spot. Like, senior captain be damned, you will be the relief guy, the guy who's coming in to give the starters a blow, if you're not careful. Because even yesterday against East Carolina, it was just a couple times where he was right in position. He's usually in position to make the play, but then he whiffs. Yeah, baby, he whiffs. He just missed the tackle. You can't do that. Yep. Because Hausman is right there. Not Junior Hausman. Ernest Hausman. I put Junior Colson and Ernest Hausman together. Yeah.
Yikes.
But I think those are ultimately, I think that's what it'll be by the end of the year. Mm-hmm. Is Hausman and Colson. But if Barrett has any chance of keeping his job, he got to come to balance, boy. You can't miss them tackles. And then defensive line, right? Defensive line, I got a lot of pressures from what I've seen. Just no sacks. Only about 3.5, maybe 4 tackles for loss. Which is, nothing to scoff at, but it's not what you expected. But then again, if the team's back there running hot potato offense, there's not much you're going to be able to do to get the opposing quarterback on the ground.
Yeah.
A lot of QB draws, screens, and it was literally avoid negative play offense. It wasn't go score offense, but it was avoid negative play offense. Let's patch up the holes and batten down the hatches.
Yeah.
And just kind of weather the storm. They weren't actively trying to win that game. And when a team is playing like that, it will skew your stats. So give me a larger body of work, right? At least give me the out of conference schedule, and then let's assess the sack production from the edge spots. I mean, if anybody is telling you that they're disappointed about the sack production and doesn't mention Kenneth Grant and the amount of pressure he was able to get from the middle, then either they didn't really watch the game and they just wanted something to complain about, or that's not a source you should trust. Because, I mean, Kenneth Grant, at 320 pounds, was able to generate more pressure from the middle than any of our pass rushers on the edge. I think the one thing that they have to fix on the edge is a lot of times the 3-tech and the edge guy end up at the same target spot. Right? Like, if you're rushing, you would like your 3 to be at least a half a step to a step inside of you with his rushing lane, so that when you flush the quarterback upward, they go right into him. And for some reason, our rushing lanes part like the Red Sea, and the 3s end up right where the edge rushers would like to be, and the only thing the quarterback has to do is step up.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Now, a few times when he did that, he came right into Kenneth Grant's chest. And that's what I like to see. I think Jenkins had a pressure like that too in the middle. Mason Graham is the one guy I was expecting to see get involved in the pass rush that didn't. So we'll look to see for an improvement from him. But the pressures that we were able to get in combination with, you know, the diligence to not get caught behind the line of scrimmage above all else from ECU is acceptable to come out of that with maybe no sacks. Now, if we weren't even getting pressure, if they never had to flush out of the pocket, if he was standing back there like a statue with all day to throw, yeah, that would be concerning. That would be pretty concerning against ECU. That's not what it was. Anybody who tells you that is being dishonest or doesn't know.
Yep.
But I think that's pretty much. Oh, and we're going to have to work that kicker into shape. Either start the freshman or get his ass together, because I haven't seen anybody miss an extra point at Michigan in like 10 years. So,
yikes.
Let's cut that shit out.
Especially coming from what you had.
Yeah. A kicker that got drafted in the 3rd round?
Something crazy.
Jesus. Go Money Moody.